tale of immortality, the price of seeking endless youth is often death. And now, as the mechanism of cellular aging becomes clear, a paradox is revealed. The same enzyme that fuels life fuels cancer. Cancer cells are healthy cells gone terribly wrong, and the key to their deadly success is the enzyme telomerase. When a cell's DNA caps become too short, the cell usually stops reproducing and eventually dies. But occasionally, instead of dying, the cell undergoes a number of changes that can make it cancerous. And one of these changes is turning on telomerase. The telomerase enzyme provides the fuel that allows cancer cells to replicate endlessly. So cancer cells like these are the true immortals. And 90% of cancer cells have hyperactive levels of telomerase.
There's really two facets to it. It's sort of like Jekyll and Hyde. Dr. Jekyll was, the good, benevolent face. And so this is telomerase in normal cells. Now, in a very different setting, which is cancer cells, telomerase is very hyperactive. It's revved up. And in that setting of cancer cells, telomerase is actually very bad news because it gives the cancer cells permission to keep on multiplying. It's as though you've given the psychopath a weapon, which in the hands of a normal, social citizen like a normal cell is perfectly responsibly used, telomerase. But in the hands of the psychopath, the cancer cell, telomerase is bad news because it gives it extra power to keep on being cancerous.
In cancer, telomerase is no longer the hero, it's the villain. So this time, instead of boosting it, the challenge is to knock it down. In San Francisco, in Liz Blackburn's lab, they've shown this idea can work.
These ones, though, are always being covered by the tenor level, basically.
They inserted faulty telomerase genes into cancer cells, and the cancer cells hated it.
And within a week or so, the cells are really very miserable. And when we see miserable cancer cells that have, hated their lives so much they've committed suicide, we like this.
Across the world, there are high hopes as many researchers target telomerase. And given that some cancer cells have found alternative ways of producing telomeres, the focus is expanding. For understanding how cancer becomes immortal is one of the most significant new approaches to detecting it and stopping it. So like a runaway car with failing brakes and endless fuel, cancer is a true immortal. But rob cancer of its vital fuel, and eventually it stops. Paradoxically, this key to cancer's deadly success is also the key to why our cells age. But why has nature evolved this double-edged sword?
The reason we age is likely as a mechanism to prevent cancer as we evolved into a longer-lived species from what we were in times past. And so the repression of telomerase, the robbing of immortality from cells in our body, the giving of cells a sort of like a finite fuel supply, helped prevent cancer and helped us live as long as we do. So we think of a yin and a yang. There's cancer and aging. And by extending telomeres and extending lifespan, we're probably increasing the risk of cancer. But as we thought very carefully about that yin and yang, we think there's like a tightrope you could walk, a balance where we could find a way to extend human lifespan without causing human cancer. It's that yin and yang, that balance between aging and cancer, with I think science and medicine will be dealing with in the coming decades.
That balance is critical. for we all rely on low levels of this same fuel to protect our normal cells. Just how important this is can be seen in people whose telomerase system is malfunctioning.
Got a minute?